Hi everybody, it's Tracy Lewin.
And Merv Smith.
How are you, Merv?
I'm excellent. Thanks, Tracy. Couldn't
Awesome,
be better.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, today is the fourth in the series of frequently asked questions, and in fact, I think it's been going pretty well. I think there's a lot of questions we've answered.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been helpful. We've tried to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. It's been good fun, actually.
And also, just to encourage anybody who is listening, if you have any questions, please add them to the comments below. And who knows, if we get enough, we'll make another video on answering some questions. So please feel free to do that. But before we go ahead, here's our lesson.
The key to abundance. This is Mariana Williamson. She is just an amazing speaker and author. Some of her sayings you would know. This is sort of a less known one. And she says the key to abundance is meeting limited circumstances with unlimited thoughts. And that truly is the way to get to abundance. Because sometimes we sit and we see this huge big wall in front of us and we think, oh my word, it's just impossible. Well, that's limited thinking. If you saw that huge big wall in front of you and you took some time out, even if it were 10 minutes a day, and give time to strategic thinking, all right, and think, well, yes, it might be impossible to get over the wall, but if I could get over the wall, or if I could get around the wall, how would I do that? And you probably think, oh, that's stupid. There's this big wall, I can't get over it. Remember, that is limited thinking. We have the most incredible muscle given to us, incredible facility, that tool that was being given to us, and that's our mind. Our subconscious mind is linked to God, is linked to the universe. We have been given incredible ability to be able to think past what we're seeing at the moment. Who was the guy that, I forget now his name, but excuse me for that, but you'll know what I'm talking about. He was trying to create the automatic sewing machine, for instance, and he'd been thinking about it and nothing was working with the needle. Because the way that we sew manually is you put the thread through the back of the needle and that's how you sew, right? But everything that he knew just wasn't working. He had limited circumstances. He could not get that sewing machine to work. He went to sleep, thinking about this issue and trying to find a solution. And he had a dream of people throwing assegais. All of a sudden he thought, you know what, that's the answer. Let's put the thread through the top of the needle, and hey presto, we now have an automatic sewing machine. So no matter what you're facing, if you would spend time in strategic thinking, well, yes, naturally it's not easy, but if I could do it, how would I do it? And just let your mind relax in that creativity, you would then end up with unlimited thoughts, which would get you to that abundance.
That's incredible, Merv. You know, I'm just thinking that as children, we do have these unlimited thoughts. I mean, children, it's so important for them to actually, have these fantasy. Oh, can you believe it? I'm getting fantasy. I'm getting tongue-tied. Yeah, fantasy. And play acting and imagination. It's so important for them to play little games. I mean, my little grandchildren, all of a sudden, I mean, they're crazy about makeup. I mean, it's really ridiculous. Even the 2-year-old is now wanting eyeshadow and lipstick. And you know, I've actually ordered from America. I've ordered some play makeup so that they can enjoy themselves and play, you know, not with the real stuff. And that is so important for them because they don't have any boundaries, but we have boundaries, and unfortunately it's what we get over time. and what our mind starts to think, oh no, we can't do this or we can't do that. In actual fact, what we really need to do is we need to just think, and we need to let ourselves go. And this is what this is all about. Children let themselves go. They really do, because they've got great imagination. But as you get older, we often lose something because we think we may not be able to achieve it, but yet you can.
Yeah, and also it's a matter of setting down specific time every day and just do some strategic thinking. It doesn't matter what it is in whatever area. So Mariana Williamson is talking about abundance here. But if you have some kind of, not a problem, but something you're trying to solve, spend some dedicated time every day and just strategically think about it. Just let your mind go. Physical about it. Doesn't matter. All of a sudden, one day you'll know when you have the absolute solution.
You know what? I also think sleeping on things is also important, because if you kind of, you might be thinking about something that you really, really need to do, or you need to solve, or whatever it is, even if it is about abundance. You may wake up the next morning and all of a sudden that thought is in your head. So, I was going to just say something, they moved. Now, can you believe the thought has gone from my head? I need to start doing more of this unlimited thinking.
It was a fleeting fantasy.
That the subconscious mind is a fantastic thing, and planting the seeds in it, it just keeps on working, and we need to allow it to work.
Yes, we do.
So excellent. I need to start thinking about abundance. Are you there, Merv?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say that the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks, actually, we've been going through some frequently asked questions. Week 1, week 2, week 3. We're actually at week 4. And these questions were gained from a meeting that you held. And interestingly enough, there's a lot of people who are just new into Bitcoin, and they're not 100% sure of what Bitcoin is, what to do with Bitcoin. And sometimes when you've been in Bitcoin for a while, you kind of don't even think about these questions. And it's really refreshing to have people ask them. So should you have any questions, please just add them to the comments below, and we will definitely get to them. So if I can just kick off with the first question. I need to understand Bitcoin mining. What is mining? Is it lucrative? Merv, you've also had some dealings with mining. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you know what, Tracy? There's 2 parts to this, really. If you were going to buy the equipment, what is mining? Mining is the computer and running software on that computer, solving algorithms, getting to the solution, and the person who gets to the answer the quickest gets the Bitcoin. So that's a block that's run. So if you were doing that, then maybe it would be lucrative. But there are high electricity costs, high equipment costs. I spoke to one of my Facebook friends, and they are actually mining Bitcoins. And he says he has to replace his equipment every 6 months. And obviously, the faster the equipment, the faster you can get to a solution. So you would get more Bitcoin. So it's a real dog-eat-dog kind of industry there. But that's how Bitcoins are mined. Now what happens is you'll find a few miners or computers, people will get together and create a mining pool. And from that mining pool, they would offer you a mining contract. So you would buy a mining contract to be able to participate in the profits of that mine. There are some legitimate mining, legitimate pool mines that are out there. Genesis, for instance, is a legitimate mine that is out there. But is it lucrative is the issue. So as I said, if you were mining it yourself and you weren't in a pool, you had your own equipment, then yes, it could very well be lucrative. But when you come into a mining pool, say for instance, you buy a contract for $500. At the moment, I think Genesis is running about 3 to 4% a month on your cost. It will take you anywhere up to 16 months before you get back your $500. To me, that's not lucrative, because you would have lost the value. If you just bought the coins and held the coins, you would have made far more profit. I did a case study for myself, for instance, with Genesis. And I said, okay, fine. This is how much I've bought into Genesis. This is how much I've earned, in inverted commas, from Genesis. If I had just bought those coins and held on to them. The shocking result was this. I was $68 negative in the mining, and had I just bought the coins and held on to it, I'd be over $200 in profit. So is it lucrative? No. But what we find is a lot of the mining pools have a network connected to them. So the more people you introduce, you get commission. That could be lucrative if you're a networker. Okay, you could make money from that. But from the actual mining pool itself, I'm not dismissive. I'm just saying that it's not, I haven't found it to be profitable. Let me put it that way.
And I can agree with that, Merv, because I've also not found it profitable at all. At the moment, I'm running at a loss. So I won't be investing anymore in any type of Bitcoin mining business. But that's a personal decision. You know, you need to decide for yourself. How can I protect myself from becoming a victim of another scam? Unfortunately, there are so many scams out there, and a lot of it is in the whole cloud mining side of things. And one of the, well, there's actually quite a few things you need to think about, or rather that are red flags to kind of identifying another scam. And I think the first one, which is a glaring one, and which is the one that absolutely attracts all the people, huge high daily returns that you would get on your money. You know, 3%, 5%. You know, that's a massive amount of money. Some schemes are offering 100% per month, some even more than 100% per month on your return on your money. Now, that to me is the biggest red flag out there. You know, you need to know nothing about that company. But if you can look at this website and see, and you know, it might be a very slick website. It might be a website where people say, join this business because it's paying. But the fact of the matter is, how long can it pay for? Because a lot of these scams actually take your money and then they end up paying you a portion of your own money back. And they do make sure that they pay some people, because the more they pay people, the more people will invest. So they have a plan. But for me, the biggest red flag happens to be that high percentage, daily percentage, which they talk about. That is not sustainable. What is a red flag for you, Merv?
Well, Tracy, talking about scams, there's scams and there's also hypes. So the hypes are the high yielding income platforms. There is a way to get into high yield that you may make some money. But the problem with those is that the further down the timeline you come in, the more chance you have of not seeing your money ever again. So my suggestion is to stay away from them. Those high interests, they're very enticing, intoxicating, very sexy, and you think, oh, yes, you know, or 6 of your friends, 10 of your friends are saying, listen, I'm into this, and it's working so well, and I'm getting so much money out on a monthly basis. We've been in them, and then they collapse the very next day. So stay away from them. If it has the word cloud mining, Do not ever get into that. That is a fact. We've been in a couple of cloud mining platforms, and we have seen, I don't know if "but" is the right word to say here, but we have seen it. And we, luckily, I just got my money out, but the majority of the time, like Tracy has said, is you'll get about 70% of your money out, and then they close, they disappear. There is no comeback. You cannot find them. And yes, they have very, very slick websites. They look so professional. They tell you on the website they've been in business for years. So you believe what you read on the website? No, you shouldn't. Yeah, there's high yields, high percentages, dangerous, especially as a beginner. Please stay away from them. So how do you stop yourself from being scammed? Stay with something that is realistic, that you can have your feet on the ground. We mentioned last week about accumulation programs. Those are the things to get into. As soon as there's high interest, you can guarantee the risk is also extremely high. And that's how you would stay away from it. High interest.
Yes, and in order to actually, number one, protect your wealth and also grow your wealth, it's rather look at a more safe and sustainable and realistic business that will give you returns that will help you get to your goal. So it's never going to be an overnight thing. There's nothing that is quick and instant millionaire stuff. It's just not happening. It's just not out there. So just be careful. Okay, do you give courses on Bitcoin? How can I get details? Just on this, if you join the BitMedia website, Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Women in Bitcoin's Facebook page, you will get yourself a free education. However, Merv, you also do a lot of one-on-one assistance with regards Bitcoin education.
Yes, I do, Tracy, because a lot of people just want that little, I know for myself, when I'm learning something new, I'd like to just chat to somebody and want to put it out there for everybody to know I'm an idiot. So I kind of like that personal touch, and that's what I've been offering. Obviously, it's free of charge. But to get people started on how to get a Bitcoin wallet and how to buy their first Bitcoins and, well, what is Bitcoins, etc. So it seems to have worked quite nicely for people. We've had some good results. So if you need one-on-one anything, come to me. But as Tracy said, there's a lot of information on our sites and BitMedia. You guys put out quite a few videos already on a how-to, or what is Bitcoin, for instance. You did a beautiful video, etc. on that. So have a look out there. But obviously, both Tracy and myself are available if you need a little bit on that. We were going to actually do a course, but we found that there are so many courses out there, and a lot of people just find logistics an issue. So, yeah, I don't think we'll be doing a formal course at all going forward.
No, there's a lot of information out there on the internet, and but what we wanted to do was actually do some videos explaining what certain topics are. So there's already a few videos in the Bitcoin education series, and go along there and have a look. If you need, get hold of us, and or need answering, get hold of us, and we'll do our best to assist you. How does one start trading with Bitcoins? There's a lot of people out there that believe they can make a huge amount of money with trading with Bitcoins. And the answer is actually pretty true. You can. But the thing is, the first thing you need to know is that you're dealing with something that is volatile, that is still volatile at the moment. We've had some big price movements this year in 2016. Who can predict these changes? Nobody can. I mean, we've just gone through the Bitcoin creation halving, which happened in July, and it was almost a non-event. And that was, you know, taking half the amount of Bitcoin that's created every 10 minutes, down from 25 Bitcoin to 12.5 Bitcoin. But we do know that in the future, it's definitely going to impact price, because that's what's going to happen. You know, it's just a normal, you know, that's economics 101. You know, the minute there's a diminished supply, an increased demand, because we're seeing a lot more consumer investor adoption, media, mainstream media getting involved, and that will all mean that with more demand, the price will go up. It's just a logical way of things. So how does one start trading? You know, you need to decide if you're going to really be, because that's really speculating as well. I mean, you know, trading with Bitcoins could also mean you just want to sell a couple of Bitcoins that you have. So it depends on how you look at this, Christian.
Well, yes, and also in local Bitcoins, Tracy, there's two sections there. There's if you want to just go in and buy a Bitcoin, it's the top section. You just say you want to buy. But if you have a look a little bit further down, there's a section that says people selling. So these are people, and you'll find the prices are dramatically less than the top section. These are traders who are looking for cheap coins. So why would somebody sell at a lesser price? Well, simply because not everybody knows how to get the best price for their coin. So they will have a look and say, okay, fine, this guy will buy my coin, fantastic. And they will sell that coin at a reduced cost. And so that's how some of the people, traders, manage to buy coins at a lower cost and then be able to sell it at a higher cost later. We have already put out, Peter Murray came on, I think it was in Women in Bitcoins a month or two ago, and spoke about trading with Bitcoins. Do yourself a favor and just go and look for it. Tracy, where would they find that?
On the YouTube channel, BitMedia YouTube channel, but we can also add it to this video below, yes. The link to that video. We can do that for sure. But,
definitely go and have a look at that, because that covers quite a few issues where trading is concerned. It's not as easy as just buying and selling. Well, it could be, but if you want to go into it big time, favor and have a look, listen to that video.
The one advice that we can give is that if you are wanting to do some trading with Bitcoin, okay, I'm talking besides your one coin or two coins or whatever it is you want to sell so that you can have the cash. But if you want to start trading and learning the ropes, and dipping your toe into the water, what you do need to do is you need to make sure that you don't, use money that you can't lose. So don't spend any money that you can't afford to lose. In other words, make sure you protect yourself that way. So, you know, otherwise, in fact, don't borrow money to start trading with Bitcoins.
Good point.
Bottom line. Okay, how much does Bitcoin cost in my local currency? Well, that actually changes all the time. You know, a couple of let's talk about South African rand, Merv, because you're there. It was something like 12. When you started out, it was something like, was it 3,000 odd rand, and then it went to 12,000 rand. Now it's about 8,000 rand. So it depends on the price.
It does. You know, there's a couple of sites that you could have a look at, but for me, for everybody, it doesn't matter where they are in the world, you will have local Bitcoins, and you'll be able to see what the trading prices are for the day. And that changes throughout the day. So at the moment, the cheapest coin I could buy in South Africa is for 8,308 Rand, up to, I don't know, 8,400, etc. So It just depends. Just go and have a look. Go and have a look at local Bitcoins, and they can give you an indication of what a coin would cost for that day or that moment in time.
Just one thing you do need to consider. So let's say a Bitcoin is, let's say a $600 US, right? You will end up having to look at your currency conversion. So wherever you are in the world, if you don't use dollars, you need to convert it to your local currency. The other thing that happens is when you do want to buy a Bitcoin, you will end up paying more than what the Bitcoin price actually is, because obviously the person who's holding the Bitcoin has the power. So if they decide to put in a 5%, 10% fee, they can do so. And if the price is agreeable to you, that's the price that you're going to pay. So it does fluctuate, and you would need to constantly check. I don't think anybody would give a price for a Bitcoin today, and then a week later you phone up and say, okay, fine, that was the Bitcoin price, can I buy it? Because the price would have moved during that time, or could possibly have moved. Right, Merv?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, it changes overnight, Most of these trades have to happen within 90 minutes because the price changes so radically.
Yes. And also, it is affected, even though Bitcoin is not controlled by, governments, politics, etc., etc. The fact of the matter is there are world, what is the word that I'm looking for? There are world events that affect the Bitcoin price. So, there was Brexit. So with the UK leaving or wanting to leave the EU, that affected the Bitcoin price. We're coming up to the USA elections, that could affect the Bitcoin price. The Chinese economy is taking a battering. Are the Chinese moving out of wanting to move their currency out of the yuan, because now the yuan is being devalued? So then there will be some movement in the Bitcoin price. In fact, the interesting thing, and I meant to mention it when you spoke about, or when we spoke about mining, do you actually realize that 80% of Bitcoin is mined within the Chinese borders? So it's quite interesting that China's very, very, very involved in Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is an interesting fact. So, what's happening in China, what's happening in India, whatever is happening throughout the world could have an effect on Bitcoin. And the reason that is because Bitcoin is borderless and stateless. It doesn't belong to a person or a company. Nobody owns Bitcoin. It is a democracy. It's owned by whoever is involved. Doesn't matter where they are. That is where Bitcoin has its power and its future value. So when we say that the Chinese economy is battling a bit, or the yuan or whatever, the reason is people want to still keep the value of their coins or of their wealth. I'll give you a great example. I was born and bred in Zimbabwe, and I had left some money there when I moved to South Africa. Yeah, hyperinflation, they now don't even have their own currency anymore. So that money that I left there, which was quite a bit of money in those days, is worthless. I can't even find it anymore. People don't want that happening to their money. So the best way to avoid that is to put it into something like Bitcoin. And so when these things are happening throughout the world, that portion of the community, of our universal community, are going to be trying to move into something that is less volatile, which Bitcoin is.
Absolutely. So exciting days ahead.
Yeah, I love it.
And for those who want to know how to buy Bitcoin, we actually did a video on how to buy Bitcoin as well. But you know, basically, there's a couple of ways to buy it. You can buy Bitcoin from an exchange. You can buy Bitcoin over the counter, which is an over the counter platform is like local Bitcoins. An exchange, for instance, is like Bitex and also starting to work on an over-the-counter system as well. But Coinbase, Kraken, OKCoin, all those are exchanges. Local Bitcoins is an over-the-counter, and of course you can buy from your, you know, somebody that you know. Maybe it's somebody that you've met who's wanted to sell some Bitcoin of localbitcoin.com. But yeah, so those are the three different ways to buy Bitcoin. Anything
and it's it's quite a simple process. You obviously have your wallet, and in your wallet it has a sending and a receiving address. So what you would do is you'd find somebody that you want to transact with, either via local Bitcoins, and I like to stay with local Bitcoins because it's a universal exchange that everybody can use. So you would go in there and you would choose a trader that you want to buy from. You would buy from them, and they would already have your wallet address because local Bitcoins has its own. You'll have your own wallet in there. Excuse me, I'm just going to cough.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, I'm fine. So local Bitcoins has its own wallet. So you trade, you pay the person, and your money is in escrow, and then it's released into your wallet. It's actually a pretty seamless process, and it really doesn't take very long at all.
And lots of instructions. So it's step by step. It's not difficult at all. But make sure you know, if you are going to buy from an individual, it's somebody that you trust. If you're doing that privately, a private sale. But they're definitely out there, and there's a lot of action in this space, I must say.
There is, Tracy. I've actually got quite a few people that I interact with individually when I'm purchasing coins, but that's taken a period of time to have that trust factor. I wouldn't say buy from anybody, especially not from somebody you don't know.
Absolutely.
So that's my only warning on the individual purchases.
Absolutely. Well, we're at the end of the session, and I just love this quote. In fact, I don't even have a name to it. I just found it, and I just thought this was incredible. The craziest thing you will ever do is nothing.
It's so funny, and it's so true. You know, we sit back and we think, oh, you know, if only. And the reality is for our future is in what we do today. We've got to do something different to what we did yesterday. And we just got to keep doing something. So it is absolutely crazy, wanting wealth, wanting whatever it is in the future, and we do nothing. It is. It's crazy.
Too much analysis paralysis.
Yes.
You know, there are many people that just have different scenarios playing out in their head. You know, the people who actually are, who actually do very well in life are the quick decision makers. I'm not saying that you have to be reckless and, you know, see something and just say, fine, I'm in. You need to look at the pros and cons. You need to look at do some due diligence. But the most important thing is you need to do something. And which means that, you know, if you're not in Bitcoin yet, get started, you know, get started.
Yeah.
Start doing something, because you don't want to be 20 years from now sitting in a rocking chair saying, you know, if only I had.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing nothing, just get going. Just get going. You know, you can buy little bits of Bitcoins and just build them up.
Absolutely.
Build them up. Yeah.
So we're going to finish off this Bitcoin frequently asked questions with this crazy notion that you'll never do anything. Instead, rather go out there and do something.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Until next week, Murph, and to our listeners, cheerio.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy your week.